the Financial Network.
We go live to Newport, Rhode Island, where the annual JVC Jazz Festival kicks off today, featuring Diana Krall and Ray Charles.
I'm Susan Lesovich. Welcome to Newport, Rhode Island, site of the 47th annual Newport Jazz Festival. Opening act tonight, Diana Krall on tap, Ray Charles, and a whole lot of other big marquee names. Pat Kiernan will be handling anchor duties from New York. But we want to begin today with the impact of the slowing economy on the concert business. Summertime, of course, is the biggest time for concert attendance. And what we've seen in the first 6 months of the year, according to Pollstar, the company that tracks concert attendance, is that dollar sales for the top 50 acts down 12%. The number of tickets sold down 15%. Concert business used to be immune to downturns in the economy, but ticket prices are a lot more expensive than they were 10 years ago, the time we last had a recession. In fact, they've more than doubled. Newport, Rhode Island hasn't seen much of a dent this year. In fact, ticket sales are up from last year. But over the 10-year period, ticket sales are actually down. Joining me now, Jill Davidson, Festival Director of the JVC Newport Jazz Festival. Welcome.
Hi, Susan.
You have some very big acts. Diana Krall tonight, she's huge with so many different age groups, but tell me who else is on the bill.
Well, we have Diana Krall, we have Ray Charles and Natalie Cole, both on Sunday. Tonight, opening is Roy Haynes before Diana. Tomorrow, we have Diana again out at Fort Adams, so she's actually big enough to play tonight and then play again at the Fort tomorrow.
And Dave Brubeck returning.
Yep, Dave Brubeck will be there, and he actually played at the very first Newport Jazz Festival, which was right out here in 1954.
One interesting theme that you've got this year, Jill, is that you have the sons of Newport. Tell me about that.
Well, we have Ravi Coltrane, who is John Coltrane's son. We have Big Bill Morganfield, who is the son of Muddy Waters. And I think there are a couple more in there. It's really exciting for those of the people in the company who knew the dads years ago to have the sons playing this year.
Is the Newport Jazz Festival staying true to its roots, which is to really celebrate America's only true performing art, original performing art?
Absolutely. I think we are programming as much jazz as anyone is, and we do add some more mainstream acts to try to keep the ticket sales up there, and that helps us, you know, from year to year. But we certainly have more jazz than...
And so many different types of sounds, because jazz means so many different things to so many different people.
Right, and we are trying to draw the younger audience again. Now we have the Mercedes-Benz Pavilion, which is featuring some of the younger, newer acts. And that enabled us to even widen the festival program more over the last 2 years.
Let's talk about the economy, because we have seen it with so many big acts. Everyone from NSYNC not selling out, Backstreet Boys actually downsizing venues, Rod Stewart playing to half-empty houses. Have you seen any impact with the slowing economy here in Newport?
Absolutely. We did last year, and we're seeing it again this year. We're down over our 15-year average. I'm not sure exactly what we attribute it to. I mean, it's many things, and certainly the part of it is it's very expensive to come to Newport. You know, the hotels are expensive, that kind of thing.
But, you know, ticket prices are expensive, approaching the average for the Jazz Fest, for instance, near $50. This is not a frivolous expense for many people.
Right. We have had to go up every year a few dollars to just try to cover the costs of putting on these events.
And so what are you seeing in terms of a response? For instance, was it an immediate sellout for Diana Krall? Was it a little bit slower?
Well, we just sold out for Diana for tonight this morning. So that's typical, though. We often sell out this event, usually the week of the festival.
And, you know, one thing that's interesting about the Newport Jazz Festival, though, is that it's an older, more affluent audience.
Yeah, I think our audience, to some degree, can still afford it to come here. You know, they're not feeling the pinch as much. I think we saw more price resistance at the Newport Folk Festival last weekend than we're seeing this weekend.
How were ticket sales this year compared to, say, last?
At the Folk Festival?
At the Folk Festival.
Well, again, we were down last year as well, but compared to previous years' averages, we were down maybe even 20%.
You know, one thing that people in the concert business have been telling me is that we never really saw resistance. When the economy went south, people still went to concerts.
Right.
Have you noticed that as well? Because you've been doing the festival for more than a decade now.
Right, yes. Well, there were some great years where we were selling out all 3 days for many years in a row. Part of that was we had the QE2 was coming to Newport, and the whole population of the boat was getting off and coming to the festival. And that helped us kind of do those last 1,500 tickets to put us at sellout. So then last year we saw the first downturn, and now it's actually looking up a little, so we're hoping that maybe it's going to turn around.
That you won't be so affected. Will you make a profit? How will you do financially?
We'll make a profit on the Jazz Festival, yes.
And how much does the sponsorship, JVC, the longtime sponsor, how much will that help?
Well, that's just been fantastic. I mean, JVC has sustained us as a company for many years, because the festivals can go up and down from year to year depending on weather and all kinds of factors. So to have a sponsor like that who's committed and stays with you, and we do, you know, festivals with them all over the world, it's just really been great. That's kept us going.
Now, a lot of the concerts are outside, and we've been getting conflicting weather reports, so please tell me that we won't be rained out tonight for Diana Krall.
We won't be rained out tonight for Diana Krall. I hope.
And there you have it from Jill Davidson, who doubles as a meteorologist and festival director of the 47th annual JVC Newport Jazz Festival.
From movies to music, the JVC Jazz Festival this weekend in my home state, Rhode Island, in the town of Newport, luring jazz fans from around the world.
Wouldn't you have liked to get this next assignment?
No, somebody else, a luckier person did.
For more on the annual event honoring America's homegrown music genre, we go to Susan Lesovich in Newport. Hello, Susan.
Don't be sore losers, you guys. We're actually worried. We're crossing our fingers here because there's this weather front that you can probably see with my hair moving through that we're hoping won't interfere with tonight's opening act, the legendary drummer Roy Haynes and the vocalist Diana Krall. The correct name of this jazz festival is the JVC Jazz Festival-Newport. With me now, the Chief Operating Officer of JVC Company of America, Harry Elias. The company has sponsored this event for 18 years, Harry, and you think it's a good fit. Why?
I think it's a great fit because, after all, people all over America, they just love music. And the category of product that we're in, we just continue to bring the music to the people.
And you've seen it translate, actually, in terms of bottom line.
Well, actually, we feel that this type of promotion will continue to grow stronger and stronger, and that's why we've done it for 18 years, and we hope to continue to do this.
And in fact, your company, JVC, does sponsor jazz festivals in 9 other cities, some of them overseas as well. As you know, the economy taking a hit right now. We see a lot of companies ratcheting down some of their expenses. You haven't. Why not?
No, because we believe that this is the best type of promotion and advertisement. We also believe that the American people, all types, are in music, actually. And why should we just walk away from that? We feel the investment is a very good investment.
Well, there are a lot of jazz aficionados, so thank you for that. But the fact is, we're seeing a hit in terms of concert attendance, overall concert attendance this year. How have the ticket sales been at some of the other festivals you've done this year?
Well, for example, in New York, we kicked it off in June, and we had a complete sellout almost every night at Carnegie Hall and A.V. Fisher Hall. So we really were not affected by that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the lineup that we bring. People like Wynton Marsalis, Diana Krall, and so forth. And the fact that we've done it constantly for 18 years, you know, we've got that recognition as the JVC Jazz Festival.
And you've got a lot of big marquee names that are performing this weekend. In fact, do you want to brag about it right now?
Oh, I would love to brag about it. You know, every year, for example, we got Natalie Cole this year, and she's back with us. We're very excited with her. We've got Diana Krall this year, and we're very excited. And as I said earlier, we'll continue to bring the music to the people.
Oh, well, that's very good news, music to people's ears. That is for sure. Harry Elias, Chief Operating Officer and a jazz fan. You rode the A train in the early days. Executive Vice President, JVC Company of America. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And guys, there is actually a business story here. I know you don't think there is one, but the fact is, Jazz Festival sales, which are good this year, they're actually an improvement over last year. We saw a little bit softening last year, are still down over the 15-year average. And that's something that we've been seeing nationally. Some of the biggest acts are showing signs of a little bit of weakness because ticket sales are a lot more expensive than they used to be, and it's just another example, perhaps, of the slowing economy. Back to you, Pat and David.
All right, Susan, thank you very much. Susan Lesovich for us live in Newport, Rhode Island.
Slowing economy, making people think twice before they buy concert tickets. We'll get a live report from Susan Lesovich. She is luckily at the JVC Jazz Festival in Newport, Rhode Island. What an assignment. I'm Jan Hopkins at the New York Stock Exchange, and you're watching Street Sweep. Now, for companies in the business of pleasure, there's less to feel good about this summer. High gas prices earlier in the year, slowing economy have cranked up pressure on the hotel and entertainment industries. Susan Lesovich has her ear to the ground at one bellwether music event, the JVC Jazz Festival in Newport, Rhode Island. So is it raining there, Susan?
It has just stopped, Jan, and I will take that as a good omen that a little more than 3 hours from now, we will have our opening act, and that opening act is sitting right next to me. He is legendary drummer Roy Haynes, who has worked with all the greats. He's sitting here, and he joins me now. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
I'm looking at your bio. You've worked with Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Sarah Vaughan, John Coltrane. The list goes on and on. Why do you keep coming back to Newport to play?
Well, it really feels good to come back here. It smells good, even though it's raining a little bit. But it's very exciting to play here, you know.
How has jazz changed over the years? This, after all, is nearly a 50-year-old jazz festival. Has it brought in new converts, would you say?
It certainly has. Yes, it's brought in a lot of new things. Even the business has changed. The music hasn't changed. Music just keeps getting better and better, like old wine, you know.
You have a new CD in the fall. You've just been named Downbeat Magazine's Drummer of the Year. Has your style changed at all, would you say?
No, I continue to grow. My style hasn't changed at all. I just try to keep swinging and dealing with the atmosphere of the music.
Tell me honestly, we're hearing a little bit rumbling of thunder. Are you just a little bit nervous about opening night tonight? Got those jitters?
I'm headed to be a little nervous. I'm not nervous yet. Maybe I'm not nervous enough yet. But I think you have to be a little nervous in order to really perform, you know, top shelf.
Well, the show is a sellout tonight. We'll be here watching, listening. Roy Haynes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for being here.
And that's a wrap. Back to you, Jan.
But what about ticket sales? Are they sold out or not?
Oh, yeah, ticket sales for tonight, absolutely a sellout. They sold out this morning. Overall, ticket sales for the Jazz Festival down about 13% over the 15-year average, but they did go up from last year when we did see a little bit of a softening. And, you know, the average ticket price here, Jan, is just under $50. So, you know, we do have a softening economy, and we have seen that nationally, that there is a resistance to these higher prices.
Thanks. Susan Lesovich in Rhode Island in Newport.
CNNfn, the financial network.
Even for a geek like me, sometimes it's nice to just kick back and take a break from technology, to trade the blue wall of the NASDAQ for, say, the blue notes of jazz by the beautiful blue waves of Narragansett Bay. The JVC Jazz Festival kicks off in Newport, Rhode Island this weekend, attracting fans from everywhere, including our own Susan Lesovich, who joins us live from Newport with a guest. Susan?
Hey, Bruce. Well, the weather is definitely not beautiful, but I wish you were here. The sound check has just concluded, and the only sounds right now that we're hearing are the periodic rumbling of thunder, but we still have 2 hours to the opening act, and we are hoping that this show will go on. Opening night of the 47th Annual Newport Jazz Festival rain or shine. With me now, a man who's seen lots of things try to interfere with opening night. Art Edelstein, who's senior producer and talent buyer at Festival Productions, which is putting on the Jazz Fest. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tonight we have Diana Krall and Roy Haynes, and you've really been responsible for getting a lot of the talent at these and other festivals. Is talent aplenty this summer?
Well, good talent is always hard to find, but we have a great festival this year. We have Bill Cosby leading his own group. We have Ray Charles, Natalie Cole, Diana Krall. It's really a fantastic festival for us this year.
It's a mixed bag, very much a mixed bag. You also have the Sons of Newport, which is something new, isn't it?
We are featuring a lot of second-generation Newport. Ravi Coltrane, who is the son of John Coltrane. Big Bill Morganfield, who is Muddy Waters' son. Muddy Waters recorded a really famous record here at Newport.
So that's something that you can try to bring in the younger age groups to really diversify this crowd. Yeah,
this festival has been going for many, many years. It's really the first major jazz festival, summer jazz festival in North America. Now there's hundreds of festivals all over the world, and this has really influenced all of them.
Let's talk about sponsorship, because corporate sponsorship, because that is so important in making these types of events a success. JVC has been at the helm for 18 years, but you've brought on some newcomers, like Mercedes, for instance, the last few years, and Verizon. Has it been difficult in the sewing economy to get corporations to sign on?
Well, JVC has been really astute in looking at sponsorship from a long-term view. They really, in terms of jazz, they really own jazz in terms of the category. And I think a lot of other sponsors are seeing that a long-term approach for this audience is really a wise move and an economical move. Okay, and so you haven't really seen any reluctance there? No, we've actually added more sponsors this year to the groups of companies that are interested in getting involved in music. Jazz tends to attract a more affluent, older crowd. Do you find there then a little bit more resistance to the downturn in the economy in terms of sales? Yes, I mean it's definitely a more affluent and educated audience, and for certain kinds of companies, it's a perfect demographic, and it's a long-term demographic as well. Okay, Art Edelstein, we wish you good luck. We're keeping our fingers crossed. It's nail-biting time here in Newport. We're expecting Roy Haynes to go on 2 hours from now, and you're hearing some more sound checks behind me, as well as that thunder, but I'd like to think of it as the angels bowling in the skies above. Back to you, Bruce.
Susan, I dare them to raid on your parade. They wouldn't dare.
I hope they don't. We're all going to be listening.
Stay dry, my friend. We'll see you later. Susan Lesovich in Newport.
From the heart of New York City, this is Lou Dobbs' Moneyline. Here now, Lou Dobbs.
Music events and concerts, a business worth nearly $2 billion a year, but the economic slowdown is hurting that industry. Poor ticket sales aren't just affecting more mature rockers. The latest top 40 stars also in trouble. But as Susan Lesovich reports from the site of the Newport Jazz Festival, it's not just the economy that's to blame.
No hands in danger. Madonna is a sellout, even with face value tickets at $250. U2 grossed $69 million on its recently concluded North American tour. Dave Matthews is averaging $2 million at each concert. But the concert business is not all right this summer. Rod Stewart has played to half-empty houses. Janet Jackson's sales are spotty. The Backstreet Boys are playing to smaller venues and not always selling out. Polestar, a company that tracks concert attendance, says ticket sales in dollars for the top 50 acts were down 12% in the first 6 months of the year. The total number of tickets sold was down even more, 15%.
It's a combination of factors, but probably the biggest one is the general downturn in the economy. Concert tickets are something that people buy out of their discretionary income, and there's less of it around these days. And that's coupled with the fact that overall ticket prices are higher.
Much higher. Ticket prices, which averaged $21 in 1991, have more than doubled since. The average price now is nearly $47. Aerosmith, Eric Clapton, and Radiohead are among House of Blues acts this summer. Jay Marciano says their sales have not declined from last year.
We're being careful about how we price our shows. We like to have a ticket price point for every concert buyer. Everyone seems to be focused on the high-priced tickets, but the fact of the matter is we usually have 4 to 5 different prices for every concert we offer.
Ray Charles, Natalie Cole, and Diana Krall are among the marquee names at this year's Newport Jazz Festival, which is seeing ticket sales off about 13% from its 15-year average.
Concerts used to be immune to downturns in the economy, but with the average ticket price approaching $50, even some of the biggest names in the business are facing something of a consumer backlash. Tonight's open of the Newport Jazz Festival, by the way, features legendary drummer Roy Haynes and the vocalist Diana Krall. And Lou, by the way, it is a sellout. Back to you, Lou.
Susan, I am still upset about learning that Rod Stewart isn't selling out. What's going on?
He hasn't had a big hit. He hasn't had a big hit in years, and that's a problem. You need something to push the crowds.
Well, we've got a weekend to get over it. All right. Thanks, Susan Lesovich. Have fun.
CNNfn, the financial network.
This is Business Unusual. Tonight, a sour note. Some of the hottest stars are hitting the stage this summer, but is there really reason to celebrate? Good evening. Welcome to Business Unusual. I'm Pat Kiernan. Music stars from Madonna to Janet Jackson to Eric Clapton have hit the road this summer, hoping to draw in die-hard fans and draw on the hard-earned cash of those fans. But are the stars filling the seats? The reason I'm in this seat tonight is because Susan Lesovich is on assignment at the 47th Annual Newport Jazz Fest. It kicked off tonight in Newport, Rhode Island. Susan's there with her ear to the ground on our top story. Susan?
Hi, Pat. And tonight's open features legendary drummer Roy Haynes and vocalist Diana Krall. And while tonight's show is a sellout, overall weekend sales are down about 13% over the 15-year average.
Madonna is a sellout, even with face value tickets at $250. U2 grossed $69 million on its recently concluded North American tour. Dave Matthews is averaging $2 million at each concert. But the concert business is not all right this summer. Rod Stewart has played to half-empty houses. Janet Jackson's sales are spotty. The Backstreet Boys are playing to smaller venues and not always selling out. Polestar, a company that tracks concert attendance, says ticket sales in dollars for the top 50 acts were down 12% in the first 6 months of the year. The total number of tickets sold was down even more, 15%.
It's a combination of factors, but probably the biggest one is the general downturn in the economy. Concert tickets are something that people buy out of their discretionary income, and there's less of it around these days, and that's coupled with the fact that overall ticket prices are higher.
Much higher. Ticket prices, which averaged $21 in 1991, have more than doubled since. The average price now is nearly $47. Aerosmith, Eric Clapton, and Radiohead are among House of Blues acts this summer. Jay Marciano says their sales have not declined from last year.
We're being careful about how we price our shows. We like to have a ticket price point for every concert buyer. Everyone seems to be focused on the high-priced tickets, but the fact of the matter is we usually have 4 to 5 different prices for every concert we offer.
Ray Charles, Natalie Cole, and Diana Krall are among the marquee names at this year's Newport Jazz Festival, which is seeing ticket sales off about 13% from its 15-year average.
Concerts used to be immune to downturns in the economy, but with the average ticket price approaching $50, even some of the biggest acts in the business are feeling a consumer backlash this summer. Someone who's certainly seen the good times as well as the bad is a man who's practically as famous as a lot of the acts that are going to appear here in Newport this weekend. That man is the founder of the Newport Jazz Festival, George Wein. It's so nice to revisit you.
Susan, to see you twice in 3 weeks is a great pleasure. It really is.
And you know, the sky is lightening up. We had some finger-biting time earlier this afternoon, but it seems to be letting up. You've been through this many times,
I've been
right?
through it many times. We're going ahead, rain or shine. Don't worry about that. And our artists are ready, and Roy's ready, and Diana's ready. But I want to discuss something with you.
Please.
You're talking about all this downturn and the price of tickets. It's true. The price of everything. The luxury concept has gone way up as opposed to the general index for inflation. But numbers game is not success. Success is when something is successful and it happens from year to year. Our Playboy Jazz Festival is a success. Our Verizon Festival this week is a success. Newport JVC New York was a success. This JVC Festival is a success. The Mellon Bank Festival is a success. The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival is a success.
I get the idea,
The Essence Festival is a success. They're all going to happen next year.
Why is that, though, George? When you're seeing even, you know, some of the big acts like Backstreet Boys downsizing to smaller venues, and your acts, in fact, are doing very well, why is that? Is it the price points are different? Is that you appeal to a wider group of people? What's the story?
They're artists of the moment. My festivals are for the ages, and all ages. The concept of rock artists is a totally different thing from the structure of the festivals I put together. And you can't judge by the fact, because if somebody has a hit record, NSYNC the other night drew 40,000 people in Tampa, Florida. I didn't think there were 40,000 people in Tampa, Florida. And the point is, if somebody's hot, they'll sell the tickets. It's the groups that are sliding that won't do the business.
But you definitely have tried to reach out to be more inclusive. For instance, tell me about some of the acts you're putting on this weekend, because it is a broad array of musical styles that all come under that big umbrella jazz.
I'm doing so many festivals, I can't recall the artists. But we have Ray Charles, Diana Krall, Bill Cosby's coming with a jazz group. We have Ray Charles, who's doing a wonderful job. Natalie Cole.
David Sanchez, Chuck Mangione,
and
Dave Brubeck,
who's been here for like so many times, and he keeps coming back every year. And it's just, we had Al Jarreau the other night. I mean, name the artists they've played on our festivals. It makes very little difference as long as they are great artists.
You have to really pretty much have a corporate sponsor, do you not, George? Even with a history like the Newport Jazz Festival, you really need a good, solid corporate sponsor to make this a financial go.
The costs are so high for everything, and the artists want the money. The agents want the money. The halls want the money. The cost of the halls are incredible. The cost of security. We have to have a sponsor. JVC has been with us many, many years. We're grateful to them for staying with us, and I hope they're with us for many years to come.
How many festivals do you put on a year? Because it's astounding.
I do approximately about 25 to 30 festivals, including Japan and Europe and Toronto and all over the country. And a lot of them are sponsored by JVC, and Verizon's doing 3 festivals. And just, we try to do the job. We try to bring something that means something to a community. That's very important. We try to make it a calendar event so that the Board of Trade, the Chamber of Commerce, can promote the event as something that's good for the city. So that's what we're here for. We create events.
And it is a lot different from the humble but very successful beginnings in 1954, yes?
Very humble, believe me.
You couldn't even sell it right away, but then you had Dizzy Gillespie, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, and others, and you were the promoter.
I was just a kid learning my trade, that's all, and working with those giants. You never beat those people. I'm looking for them still.
You are a quick study, George Wein, and it should be said that you are a noted jazz musician yourself. George Wein, the most popular man in Newport this week, and thanks so much for joining us. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Susan. I can always make a living playing the piano.
That is excellent. And, you know, you heard it from the master. This concert will go on tonight, rain or shine. Business Unusual, of course, will take place, rain or shine. It will continue right after this commercial break.
heart of New York City, this is Lou Dobbs' Moneyline. Here now, Lou Dobbs.
It's a business worth nearly $2 billion a year, but the economic slowdown is hurting that industry. Poor ticket sales aren't just affecting more mature rockers. The latest top 40 stars also in trouble. But as Susan Lesovitz reports from the site of the Newport Jazz Festival, it's not just the economy that's to blame.
No hands in danger. Madonna is a sellout, even with face value tickets at $250. U2 grossed $69 million on its recently concluded North American tour. Dave Matthews is averaging $2 million at each concert. But the concert business is not all right this summer. Rod Stewart has played to half-empty houses. Janet Jackson's sales are spotty. The Backstreet Boys are playing to smaller venues and not always selling out. Polestar, a company that tracks concert attendance, says ticket sales in dollars for the top 50 acts were down 12% in the first 6 months of the year. The total number of tickets sold was down even more, 15%.
It's a combination of factors, but probably the biggest one is the general downturn in the economy. Concert tickets are something that people buy out of their discretionary income, and there's less of it around these days, and that's coupled with the fact that overall ticket prices are higher.
Much higher. Ticket prices, which averaged $21 in 1991, have more than doubled since. The average price now is nearly $47. Aerosmith, Eric Clapton, and Radiohead are among House of Blues acts this summer. Jay Marciano says their sales have not declined from last year.
We're being careful about how we price our shows. We like to have a ticket price point for every concert buyer. Everyone seems to be focused on the high-priced tickets, but the fact of the matter is we usually have 4 to 5 different prices for every concert we offer.
Ray Charles, Natalie Cole, and Diana Krall are among the marquee names at this year's Newport Jazz Festival, which is seeing ticket sales off about 13% from its 15-year average.
Concerts used to be immune to downturns in the economy, but with the average ticket price approaching $50, even some of the biggest names in the business are facing something of a consumer backlash. Tonight's open of the Newport Jazz Festival, by the way, features legendary drummer Roy Haynes and the vocalist Diana Krall. And Lou, by the way, it is a sellout. Back to you, Lou.
Susan, I am still upset about learning that Rod Stewart isn't selling out. What's going on?
He hasn't had a big hit. He hasn't had a big hit in years, and that's a problem. You need something to push the crowds.
Well, we've got a weekend to get over it. All right. Thanks, Susan Lesovitz. Have fun.